Viking, Swollen members. I'm the producer and the DJ for the group.
This is definitive, we are unlimited, living inside of a rap war. So back up and get backed up and then smacked up, back to war.
I started off playing piano as a kid. I had piano lessons briefly, and which sort of sparked an interest in just writing music and composing things on the piano on my own. Later on in life, you know, as in my teenage years when I was getting into hip-hop, I was strongly inspired to write rhymes, or, you know, when I got my first piece of equipment, I was able to translate that piano compositional style into sort of banging out beats and stuff like that. So I had an understanding sort of how music worked. I think really Swollen members, as much as it is a part of the hip-hop community in terms of the music that we make, we're an individual as well. I think our music is unique, and that's part of the reason that we stick out. We are inspired by other rap groups and whatnot, and that's just part of it. I mean, everybody's inspired by somebody, but I think because of where we're from and just how we live our lives, our music comes out in a very unique way.
You've seen the whole scene evolve over the past decade. What is your perception on how it was when you started till around now?
The music industry has changed. Just the music industry in general, not just hip-hop. As everybody knows, people don't buy music as much as they download music now, and it's just a common thing. Promotional-wise, YouTube and things like that, that's how we get ourselves out there. And then, you know, creating content and staying current with that sort of thing is what people are used to doing. That's how they take in music nowadays. Not just YouTube, but iTunes and things like that. And record sales still are somewhat relevant, but not as much as touring and things like that. For us, financially, so that we can keep our boat floating, so we can continue to support ourselves and make music.
The longer you guys do this, the more unusual the story becomes too. Like, what would you say is the biggest factor that's kept you working together successfully all these years?
I think it's this is something that Matt Child keeps stressing, and we all believe is it's a family and it's a brotherhood. It's something that we've sort of, all three of us have committed to in a sense where we're big enough to let some of our personal things aside so that we can do this and not get too personal with each other. We respect our space and everything, and that's part of longevity. I think it's just being able to see the long vision and not, you know, get too caught up in little things in every day. Otherwise, we'd quarrel too much and then we'd probably break up.
Yeah.
And that's just, I think you see a lot of bands come and go, and I think it's just because maybe they're not quite as dedicated. Beautiful Death Machine was a natural process. A lot of people seem to be comparing it to things like Balance and Bad Dreams, earlier stuff, where we were sort of just really being artists and not worrying about commercial success and things like that. Bad Dreams sort of was the beginning of our commercial success, but we were still free artists at that point. And we've always tried to maintain that, being independent artists. But this particular project, and I think Daggermouth as well before, was something we just went into the studio and we said, you know what, we're not going to try and preconceive anything. We're not going to say, hey, we need to make singles so that we can get radio play. We're not going to try and manufacture some sort of music for somebody that we think is current, or some audience that wants to hear something that is current and popular at this particular time. Because honestly, if you get into that mode, you're always going to be 5 months behind, and it's just not a recipe for success. I think, honestly, to be an artist and to have your audience truly receive your art, you just have to let it flow naturally and don't try and force anything. And that's what Beautiful Death Machine really is. And honestly, I feel the reception just from being on this tour, that, you know, the audience really, really appreciates that, and that's come from the bottom of my heart. I'm very happy about that, because that allows us to just be us.
That's awesome. And you also mentioned Daggermouth, and in between the two albums, we've seen like a lot of Mad Child everywhere, like his solo albums he battled, and we know like he was obviously keeping like the hip-hop creative juices flowing. Was there anything you were doing in between that were just like keeping you like just creative, going into the next one?
I am the studio guy, so a lot, like Mad Child's album was recorded at my studio. I did all the recording. I produced probably 40% of the record, and if I didn't produce it, I recorded it, and I put it all together. I arranged the album. Like, I was the last person to put that album. So things like that. I guess what I'm trying to say is I'm always busy working on things, being a studio guy. So working on recording Prevail's solo EP, Mad Child's solo EPs, Mad Child's solo record, Soul Remember's next record. Like, while Mad Child was doing his thing, we were also creating Beautiful Death Machine as well. And now that Beautiful Death Machine is out, we're mixing Mad Child's next solo record because it's already done. And we're mixing, and we've already got our next record, Soul Remember's record, halfway done. So there's always things, you know. That's what I'm doing. I'm always in the background, creating, putting things together, making sure that the vision is completing.
For younger cats listening, what 3 pieces of advice would top your list of essentials for people aiming to emulate what you've accomplished over the years? Like, not just creatively, but like fan connection, businesses, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think it's very important to get yourself out there and tour. Put your music out there, YouTube. Make sure that what you put out there is your A game. Don't try and water down. If you're just trying to get out there, don't try and water down. Give it your A game, and make sure that I think it's important to be accessible, and I think it's important to be persistent. And if you really believe in what you're doing, you just got to keep fighting and keep doing what you do. Because honestly, it's not an easy business, and it's not going to come overnight.
If I can ask also, how do you keep your strength up on a tour like this?
You can probably see by the look on my face that I look a little bit tired. It's just, you got to pace yourself, and we've been doing it for years, so we're a little bit seasoned in that sense to where we know how to pace ourselves and, not stay up too late. Make sure you get your rest for your next show, because we do a show. This tour, we have a show almost every single day. We're back home for like 3 days, and then we go to Europe and have a show almost every single day. So you really got to pace yourself. And, we don't really party anything anymore like that, because we know how to maintain our energy and make sure that our ship is running smoothly.
Okay.
The signature Beyond the Watch question, you can answer this however you like, but it's, what do you think life is?
Life? I don't know. Look at life. Look at everything that's living. Look at trees and things. It's about persistence. It's about survival and struggle. And I think Prevail had a shirt that says, or Matt Child first had a shirt that says, "Life is a beautiful struggle." That's what life is.